The option towards that orders is 4 days. Only addition. There is no other addition in this motion. The standing order speaks to every other word that is mentioned in this motion. So when I stood earlier, sir, and I merely read the motion, I honestly and sincerely thought that this motion would have enjoyed the support of the government side in this house. And the fundamental reason why I believed the government would have supported this motion is because in due time they will be sitting on this side and they will enjoy the benefit of what this motion is seeking to do. You see, Mr. Speaker, the reason why the government side will enjoy this motion is because the people of Guyana will judge them soon at the elections, and they will be judged for their behavior, especially in the most recent action of wanting to appeal a decision that was made by Judge Sandel Kisoon to benefit all of Guyana. The people of Guyana are watching them, and the people of Guyana knows that the ruling Judge Sandel Kisoon made was to benefit the people of Guyana. So they will be judged. They will be judged. And sometimes we forget what is the fundamental reason of us being elected to this National Assembly. It is not because of who want to determine how busy they are. The people's business comes first. And the questions that we put in the National Assembly and the motions that we bring here, it is not for our personal self. It is to represent the people of Guyana. And the people of Guyana have asked us to ensure that they get timely response to the questions and motions that they have given us that mandate to put forward. And I say again, sir, that this motion is not a motion with any sinister motive at hand. It is simply to put timelines in place. And I say again, sir, that the government side in the near future will benefit because their days over there are numbered. They are numbered. When you look at the substandard work in the Ministry of Public Works, roads that are broken up after months of being constructed, their days are numbered. When you look at the health sector and how the people at West Demerara Hospital, at Georgetown Public Hospital, and you look at what is happening there, your days are numbered. When you look at the Foreign Service and you look at the UTOD, who is the last as far as I'm concerned, the Prime Minister and the way in which the Civil Defense Commission deals. When you look at the security sector,
Honorable Member, there's a no, but we're speaking to this motion that want to number my days.
Mr. Speaker, your days very clear. Let me make this very clear, sir. I am speaking to the motion because it's a motion to benefit them, the honorable members on government side, when they come over here sooner rather than later. When you look, sir, at the Honorable Dr. Vindi Prasad and how staff members had to write a letter against. Sir, when you look at the house being allocated where people don't even know where is it that their lots are located, their days are numbered. So when you look at what is happening in all oil money, and we boast about the influx of the money, and it can't be felt by the ordinary people and cost of the people of Guyana will. So when I call on the government side to support such a motion, it is simply because I know it will benefit. I want to turn my attention to the presentations made by the three honorable members on the government side. Opposite side. Sir, I want to start with my friend. It's very clear. Madame Teixeira has served in this National Assembly of 30 years. And I want to pay her the respect she rightly deserves. And I want to say without a doubt that I do have great respect for the Honorable Gail Teixeira. And I believe the AP and UAFC in totality have great respect for the Honorable Gail Teixeira. And I would not, sir, try to hide the fact that Honorable Pauline Sukai service to that of Honorable Gail Teixeira have made people not recognize that. But for the fact she does have the same years of service as Honorable Teixeira, that they have served that well. But when you listen to an like what we just heard, particularly me, a young member of parliament, as to where is the substance. Here's, sir, this latest of respect for stood in this house and spoke. I have to remind Honorable Moses Nagamutu submitted a no motion in 2013, I think. And instead of that motion being brought to the floor, the parliament was prorogued. But when they, on the opposite side, it was brought to the floor and it was debated. So that ought to be mentioned, sir. Great respect for, went into history and talked about the standing order, and Sir Michael Davies' report never said that and amend standing order 82 that speaks. It seems as though Sir Michael Davies' report used in this honorable house. Standing order 82 was suspended. Include standing order 84, 82, 4. Sir Michael Davies never said that the quorum for PAC must be 2 from government side. Sir Michael Davies saw that the quorum was 9 at that time, and he didn't attempt, Honorable Gail Teixeira, to change the quorum of a public accounts committee. And the public, the people of Guyana, they are seeing what is the happenings right now in the public accounts committee. 13 public accounts committee, the government side, failed to show up, derailing the work of PAC and pushing us 13 weeks beyond to get to the government report. And everybody knows that the reason why we have a public accounts committee is for transparency and accountability, which the government side is running from. Sir, the Honorable Teixeira talked about two sides of their mouth. We have been in here long enough to know who to the speaker. We agree with that. We don't disagree with that. And the Honorable Teixeira seems to believe that this motion is disagreeing with that. Well, let me remove that doubt from her and assure her that the AP and UAFC, we have the standing member of this House, a long-standing public servant, and he's executing his functions to the best of his ability, to the extent where I know, and many of us on this side know, that many other countries rely on him for guidance, and we respect that about him. Sir, let me turn to the Honorable Sanjeev Dattadin. Sir, I don't know if, you know, when I listened to his statement, I drew the conclusion that he was just dashed on to this motion today. This morning in a matter of minutes, and perhaps he didn't get the time to examine the motion properly. But he attempted to speak about transparency. He attempted to speak, and he spoke about elections and rigging. I said in this House the last, and I'm saying it again, every one of our candidates that are contesting in the local government election, legitimate signatures. The people are alive and well who sign in support of them, and at no time AP and UAFC had to go on national television to apologize to anybody for their dead mother appearing on a signature list. That is what had to happen with the People's Progressive Party. So let us not talk about transparency and accountability. Let us not talk about electoral fraud, Honorable Sanjeev Dattadin. Evidence to support electoral fraud is at the feet of the People's Progressive. That same honorable member, Sanjeev Dattadin, spoke about the suspension of MPs because of an incident that involved Paul. Perhaps he should turn to Honorable Teixeira and Honorable Pauline Sukai, where they can probably remind him that Isahak Basir, God rest the dead, was a member of the People's Progressive Party when he went and moved the mace, when he took away the mace from its rightful position. Perhaps they don't remember. The People's Progressive Party, perhaps they Isahak Basir, who took a glass from his seat and felt it at the Speaker of the National Assembly at that time. And you talk about the
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
You talk about
Honorable Minister of Parliamentary Affairs.
Point of order, Standing Order 14. The Honourable Member Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member is referring to a person who has passed, and secondly, he was expelled from the House to not be a member of the House after that incident. So he faced the worst consequences. He was expelled by the National Assembly and not allowed to remain a member of the National Assembly. So do not try to make it seem as if there were no consequences.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, I don't recognize that as a point of order.
Thank you for your protection.
Honorable Member, you may continue.
Thank you very much for your protection, Comrade Speaker. Let me repeat that because it may have been lost. Isahak Basir, God rest the dead, as stated in the Hansards of this National Assembly. It is recorded, was a member of the People's Progressive Party when he removed the mace from its seat and took it and gave it to the Honorable, at the time, Honorable Chedi Jagan, who's now dead also, God rest the dead. He was the one, Isahak Basir, who took a glass and hurled it at the Speaker of the National Assembly. Don't come in here, none of you on that side of the house, and tell us about decorum in this house. Don't come over here in this house and try to paint yourself as though you have done no wrong. Don't do that because you have begun it. You set the record. You are the ones who tried to bring down decorum in this honorable house. That are on the desk. History has taught us that it is the People's Progressive Party that has a track record of no respect for law and order, no respect for decorum, no respect for the order of business. So don't come here and try to tell us what is right from what is wrong. You have a dirty past, and it is well documented. So don't come and try to tell us about it. Mr. Speaker, I turn to my friend Alistair Charlie, Honorable. First of all, I want to respect the fact that Comrade Charlie was very articulate. Had no substance, but spoke well. Articulate, pronounced the words correctly, English and verb agreements well. To the PPP side, the opposite side, they should exchange Charlie. Honorable, of course. But I do take note, given that I know his age, he was well schooled under the People's National Congress reform government. So I congratulate you on the way you have articulated your position, but it was of no substance. Clearly you did not understand the motion too, Honorable Charlie. Clearly you did not understand the motion. That is the same honorable member who said that we have to respect the standing order. It must not be taken lightly. It is there to guide us, and it has been there for a long time. He clearly didn't remember when Gail Teixeira stood up, Honorable, of course, and moved to amend the standing orders. So this amendment to this standing order seems to be only beneficial when it applies to the People's Progressive Party. Honorable Ben, do you categorize that as sanctimonious? Because that's a new word you have learned, my dear comrade, in this honorable house. And you have used it very frequently. Is that sanctimonious? And you see, sir, I have to answer these honorable members because I sat here and I heard how they twisted the entire intention of this motion. It was a simple motion brought before this house for support from their side. If there is no ulterior motive, and it simply seeks to provide the people of Guyana timely answers to their questions and to their requests for motions. That is all it seeks to do, nothing else. And it is because we on this side of the house recognize that our fundamental duty is to the people of Guyana. We agreed and accepted to take a seat in this house to deal with them first as priority. The people of Guyana. There we accepted to deal with as priority. So I say to the honorable members on the opposite side that if you believe that we should not put a timeline to satisfy the people of this country, then you are basically not satisfying your duties and you should simply go. You should simply submit your resignation letter and go. You are all sitting in respective seats in this National Assembly, primarily to represent people of Guyana, all the people of Guyana, not your own self-interest to determine when this should come and when that should come, or when that should go and when that should not go. Your priority remains the people of Guyana. So whether you are part-time, half-time, full-time, or no time, you are here for the people of Guyana. The origin, let me say why this motion came up. Mr. Speaker, you know, I really and truly didn't know what was the direction the government was going in, but I did my homework because I anticipated this kind of behavior from the government side. I anticipated them not wanting to come before this house and support this motion. But I had a part of me that believed that we could have found consensus, that we could have found common ground and constructively, as my sister Annette Ferguson put it, constructively act within the best interests of the people of Guyana. When the motion for the approval of the list of entities nominate members to the Ethnic Relations Commission was laid, a couple of days after it reached the order paper. All the motions, as a matter of fact, that the government side submitted to this National Assembly reached the order paper in a matter of days. From the 6th of December 2021, it made the order paper on the 17th of December 2021. The other one, the adoption of the third report of the Standing Committee on Appointments in relation to the appointment of members of the Police Service Commission and other government motion. It was laid on the 17th of December 2021. It reached the order paper on the 29th of December 2021. A motion was submitted for the Gas to Shore project by the opposition. It was submitted on the 27th of October 2021. It reached the order paper on the 24th of January 2022. So you see where the motion, where it's coming from? A number of other motions that were submitted here by government reached the order paper a matter of days. When you look at the appointment of a commission of inquiry to investigate the unrest at the Lusignan prison, the subsequent deaths of and the injury of several prisoners on the 19th of September 2020, that was an opposition motion that my honorable friend Geeta Chandan Edmonds submitted. It was submitted on the 19th of November 2020, and it reached the order paper on the 14th of December 2020. When you look at the condemnation to the brutal and horrific killing of Joel Henry, Isaiah Henry, and Harish Singh between the period September 6th to 9th, 2020, it was submitted on the 19th of November 2020. It reached the order paper on the 14th of December 2020. There are a number of other motions here, sir, but for the interest of time, I just want to say that there are government motions that reached the order paper in a matter of days, while the opposition motions take a longer period of time. When we look at the location of the Guyana Shore-Based Service, another motion that was submitted, it was submitted on the 5th of March 2021. It reached the order paper on the 7th of April 2021. When you look at this one is the one that I think reached the order paper the fastest. It was a government motion. It was a government motion. Hear it, my comrade Gail Teixeira. Removal of the chairperson from the Public Accounts Committee. That motion was submitted on the 3rd of June 2021 and it reached the order paper the 9th of June 2021. 3 days after it reached the order paper. Comrade Speaker, 6 days, 6 days. Now, sir, when you look, well, go ahead and do your job. It doesn't take away from the point. It does not take away from the point, Mr. Ramson. It does not take away from the point. Sir, when you look at the increase in the cost of living for Guyanese, it was submitted on the 29th of April 2022, and it made the order paper on the 14th of June 2022. Sir, and I must say this, you know, this was a testing period for this motion, because I am very well cognizant of the fact that after these motions and questions reach the order paper, there is a statutory timeline that they ought to be satisfied before they make the order paper. And I believe questions are 21 days and motions are 12 days, reference to the opposition motions, 12 days. And I must say that I did seek to submit an amendment to cater for that also, and was rightly so guided that because I am dealing with other motions there, other standing orders, it ought to be submitted as a substantial motion. So I put on notice that another motion for amendment will be coming to reduce the days that it takes questions and motions to move from notice paper onto the order paper. And these actions are not things that are of sinister motive, as I made mention before. It is simply to have timely, effective, and efficient responses to questions and issues the ordinary citizens of Guyana have and will like them to be answered. And that is all that it seeks to do. So I don't know why, Comrade Speaker, we went into this entire argument about no confidence motion and Honorable Datidin talking a whole other thing about rigging. They opened the Pandora box, and we have given them reasons to recognize that they should not have, because the amount of sins that are at the feet of the People's Progressive Party, there is no place or space for any blessings based on your behavior. So don't come talking to us about that. Sir, I need to reiterate the point. That we in this House accepted, and I will end on this note because the people of Guyana must hear this. We accepted, sir, to occupy our seats, to represent the people of Guyana, and to treat them as priority. And that is fundamental in all of this and the action of this motion. That is what is fundamental. I hear people making the point. About being part-time. And I even heard, sir, that you are a part-time speaker. I honestly thought you were full-time. Forgive me, because I know you enjoy the same benefits as a senior minister. So I thought that you had the same similar strong office and perks and all the other likes as they do. But forgive me for that. I'm happy that you clear it up, and I now know that you are part-time also. But we ought to understand that regardless of that, sir, and Sanjeev Datadin, honorable member, also spoke about what about if it is submitted, if a motion is submitted on Good Friday. I don't know, like the government didn't buy you a smartphone that has internet access. Everything now in this world happens at the snap of a finger. I know that I have sent to you, Comrade Speaker, I vividly remember this. When I submitted the amendment to the single window planning and development bill. And you looked at it, and in a matter of minutes, I think you responded and asked that it be circulated. And that is very good. So technology is before us, whether it's Good Friday or Good Saturday or Good Sunday or Good Monday, doesn't take away from the fact that technology is at our disposal. We have a hybrid parliament where people could be as far as China and still log in and participate. And you are bringing an argument, Honorable Datadin, about Good Friday. We are not there anymore. We have advanced ourselves. And perhaps I should thank Honorable Catherine Hughes when she was responsible for public telecommunication. You opened the door, and your friend Honorable Onej Waldron seems to be continuing in that regard, but her days are numbered. Pay attention to that. So, Comrade Speaker, I close by saying, sir, that the motion is simple. The motion seeks to put a timeline to benefit the people of Guyana, to give us greater relevance in questions and motions that can deal with current day matter. And we are not overtaken by time. Questions don't arise or appear on an order paper after the matter was dealt with. It becomes relevant. And that is why, sir, because of that time frame that we have, I had to attempt last night to submit a motion concerning Justice Sandil Kisoon's ruling and calling on the government side to respect it. And I understand, sir, that you did not allow it, but it is those kinds of hurdles that are within the standing order that caused me to go down the road on the definite matter of urgent public importance. And it was. The people of Guyana know it was a matter of definite urgent public importance. But even though we respect the decision of the chair and the House, the debate in the public will not finish. The debate in the House in the public is what is important, and that is what each and every one of them over there will be judged on. Because God forbid, if there is ever an oil spill in this country, then all of you should be placed on an island to stay there forever. And on that basis, Comrade Speaker, I beg to put this motion to the floor, and I hope I have brought some degree of clarity that will see the support of the government side for the passage of this motion, because it acts within the interests of the people of Guyana. And I trust my good friend, Dr. Asha Kisoon, will equally support this motion, because her presence here is not for herself. It is for the people of Guyana. I thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member Mr. Mahipal. I did not want to interrupt the passion which you delivered some of that content, but the use of some of the motion did disregard standing orders. Motions coming from committees and by a minister require only 1 day notice, nothing sinister. You did acknowledge in the end that the government has 6 days and opposition 12 days. And then it was your omissions in this entire presentation which is of concern. And while this is just looking at a time frame for the administration of the National Assembly to put questions, you still have to consider 20 content of questions. And I wouldn't bore the House with reading them back again, but content of question, not too lengthy, but very important when we have to read questions and motions against the standing orders. And that is why, in the end, a certain motion on inflation and cost of living. Took a long time because in the end, it had to even go back to the legal committee to look at it. Nevertheless, we are here, and I now put the question, the motion submitted by the honorable member, Mr. Mahi Paul, to the vote. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no.
Division.
The noes have it, and there's a division. So we'll ring the bell to ensure, yes, we do have a bell, and again, at the discretion of the chair, we ring the bell so that persons who are not here or persons who may be in China might have the opportunity to log on and participate in the hybrid parliament which we have. But online. Mr. Clerk, you may take the division.
Dr. Kissoon. Dr. Asha Kissoon.
I vote no.
Yes. No. What she said. She against. Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Sinclair,
Yes.
Miss Alert,
Yes.
Miss Philadelphia, Miss Philadelphia, Mr. Jaiprashad,
Yes.
Mistress Flubes,
Yes.
Mr. Rajkumar,
Yes.
Mr. Mahipal,
Yes.
Mr. Figuera,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Mr. Patterson, Miss Fernandez,
Yes.
Miss Ferguson,
Yes.
Mr. Singh Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Sarabo Ali,
Yes.
Dr. Cummins,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Ramsaru,
Yes.
Miss McDonald, Mrs. Walton Desir,
Yes.
Mr. Jordan,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings Williams,
Yes.
Mrs. Lawrence,
Yes.
Mr. Duncan, Mrs. Chandon Edmond,
Yes.
Mrs. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Holder,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Mr. Ramjatan,
Yes.
Mr. Norton.
Yes.
What? How do I
Miss Veerasamy,
unmute?
No.
Mr. Williams,
No.
Dr. Smith,
No.
Mr. Jafar Ali,
No.
Dr. Westford, Dr. Ramsaran, Mr. Pearson Fredericks, Mr. Narayan, Mr. Datadin, Dr. Mahadio, Mr. Charlie,
No.
Mr. Siraj, Mr. McCoy, Mr. A. Prasad,
No.
Mr. Indar,
No.
Ms. Rodriguez, Ms. Parag,
No.
Mr. Ramson,
No.
Dr. V. Prasad,
No.
Mr. Kroll,
No.
Mr. Dharamlal,
No.
Mr. Bharat,
No.
Mr. Hamilton,
No.
Ms. Sukai,
No.
Mr. Mustafa,
No.
Ms. Manik Chand, Ms. Manik Chand, Dr. Anthony, Dr. Anthony, Bishop Edgel,
No.
Mr. Todd,
No.
Mr. Shearer,
Sorry. No.
Mr. Nandlal,
No.
Mr. Jagdeo,
No.
Mr. Phillips,
No.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, this is Priya. I got cut off the internet. I sent you a message. And I'd like you to acknowledge my message. My vote is no. I was on shortly before, which I dedicated to you, and I asked you to acknowledge that invitation. And then I got kicked off.
We're in a hybrid situation. We we have done that for other persons here. Right? Her vote could be acknowledged. Honorable.
Mr. Manik Chand. Ms. Manik Chand.
No. Did you hear that?
Your vote is acknowledged.
Mr. Speaker,
Thank
the
you.
opposition would just like to register their objection to that vote being counted.
Sir, it's standing orders. It's very
Honorable
clear.
members, I now call on the clerk to read the results of the voting.
Mr. Speaker, 31 members voted for the motion, with 34 voting against.
Honorable members, the motion is defeated. This is a good time to take the suspension for lunch.